Hello, English learners from around the globe, and welcome back to the channel that's dedicated to making your language journey smoother and more successful. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest hurdles in English learning: how to remember new words, not just for a day or a week, but truly, forever. Think about it. How many times have you diligently studied a list of new vocabulary, felt confident, only to find those words have vanished from your mind a few days later, right when you needed them most? It's a frustrating cycle, isn't it? You might feel like you have a bad memory, but I'm here to tell you it's not your memory that's faulty, it's often the strategy you're using. In this comprehensive guide, we're going to dive deep into the science of memory and uncover powerful, proven techniques that will transform the way you acquire and retain English vocabulary. By the end of this video, you'll have a robust, actionable plan to build a truly expansive and lasting English vocabulary. So, grab a notebook, maybe a cup of tea, and let's get started on remembering English words forever. 1. Understanding the enemy: why we forget. Host: before we talk about how to remember, let's briefly understand why we forget. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. Our brains are incredibly complex and efficient, and they have a natural inclination to discard information they deem unnecessary or infrequently accessed. This is known as the forgetting curve, a concept first described by German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus. Imagine your memory like a giant library. When you first learn a new word, it's like putting a single, new book on a shelf. If you never touch that book again, it quickly gets lost among the others, or worse, it gets sent to the archive, essentially, forgotten. Ebbinghaus's research showed that without reinforcement, we forget a significant portion of new information within hours or days. We lose about 50% after just 1 hour, and up to 75% after 6 days if there's no review. Traditional methods, like simply reading long vocabulary lists, engage only the shallowest levels of memory processing. Your brain sees it as a temporary piece of data, not something vital for survival or everyday use. To truly remember a word, we need to trick our brains into thinking it's important and useful. We do this by engaging multiple senses, creating strong associations, and actively retrieving the information. 2. The core pillars of permanent vocabulary retention. Now that we understand the challenge, let's build our fortress of memory. These are the fundamental strategies, backed by cognitive science, that will help you remember words permanently. Strategy 1. Context is paramount, beyond isolated words. Host: this is perhaps the most crucial rule. Never learn a word in isolation. A word is like a single brick. It's useful, but its true power comes when it's part of a wall, a house, a structure. The structure for a word is its context. When you learn a new word, find or create a full sentence. Don't just write ameliorate equals improve. Write, the new policies are designed to ameliorate the living conditions in rural areas. This sentence immediately tells you meaning in use. You see how it improves something. Part of speech, you can infer it's a verb. Collocations, you start to notice words it frequently pairs with, e.g., ameliorate conditions. Personalize the context, even better, create a sentence that is meaningful or relevant to your life. For example, if you learn elucidate, to make clear or explain, think, could you please elucidate that grammar rule for me? Or, I wish my professor would elucidate complex theories more clearly. Personal connection significantly boosts recall. Use real-world examples. When you encounter a new word while reading or listening, pay attention to the surrounding words. How is it being used by native speakers? This authentic context is invaluable. Keep a notebook or a digital file where you record not just the word and its definition, but also the full sentence where you first encountered it. The brain is wired for stories and connections. A word in context immediately forms a mini-story or a meaningful relationship with other ideas, making it stickier. Strategy 2, the power duo, active recall and spaced repetition. Host: if context is the foundation, then active recall and spaced repetition are the powerful engines that drive words into your long-term memory. Active recall: testing yourself, not just rereading. Host: passive rereading is like admiring a muscular arm, you see the strength, but you don't build any yourself. Active recall, on the other hand, is like doing the push-ups. It means actively retrieving information from your memory without looking at the answer. Flashcards are your best friend. Used correctly, don't just write the word on one side and the definition on the other. Front, the English word. Back. The definition, a synonym, an antonym, if applicable, and crucially, one or two example sentences, preferably your own. How to use, look at the English word. Try to remember everything about it, its meaning, how to use it in a sentence, its pronunciation. Struggle a little. That struggle, that effort to retrieve, is the key. Only then, flip the card to check. If you got it right, great. If not, spend a moment reviewing it before moving on. Self-quizzing: instead of rereading a list, cover the definitions and try to define the words. Or cover the words and try to remember them from their definitions. Explaining to an imaginary friend: try to explain the meaning of a new word and how to use it to an imaginary friend or even yourself out loud. This forces your brain to articulate the information. The more you force your brain to retrieve information, the stronger the neural pathways become, making recall faster and easier next time. Spaced repetition, the anti-forgetting curve secret. Host: remember Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve? Spaced repetition is its ultimate antidote. It's a scientifically proven method that involves reviewing information at increasing intervals, just as you're about to forget it. How it works. You learn a new word. You review it again soon, for example, 10 minutes later, or the next day. If you remember it, the next review is scheduled for a longer interval, e.g., 3 days later. If you remember it again, the interval gets even longer, e.g., a week, 2 weeks, a month, several months. If you forget it, the interval resets, and you start reviewing it more frequently again. Why it's effective: this intelligent timing takes advantage of how our memory consolidates information. By challenging your memory just before it fades, you reinforce the memory connection more efficiently than if you were to review it too often, which is wasteful, or too rarely, which leads to forgetting. Tools to use. While you can do this manually with physical flashcards, for example, a Leitner system with different boxes, the most effective way is to use spaced repetition software apps like Anki, Memrise, or Quizlet. These apps have algorithms that automatically calculate the optimal review times for each word based on your performance. They are game changers for vocabulary acquisition. I cannot emphasize enough how powerful combining active recall with spaced repetition is. This dynamic duo will systematically move words from your short-term to your long-term memory. Strategy 3: engaging your imagination, mnemonics and imagery. Host: our brains are incredibly visual and love stories, even silly ones. Mnemonic devices are memory aids that help you associate new information with something you already know or can easily visualize. Visual imagery: for abstract words, try to create a vivid mental picture. For example, if you learn ephemeral, lasting for a very short time, you might imagine an effurent, like an elephant but smaller and with wings, that lives for only one day, flying briefly across the sky before disappearing. The more bizarre, humorous, or sensory-rich your image, the more memorable it will be. Action and emotion. Add action and emotion to your images. Is the ephemeral elephant happy? Sad? Is it flying quickly? Keyword method. Connect the new word to a word that sounds similar in your native language or English, and then create an image or story connecting the two. For benevolent, kind, well-meaning, you might think of a bell and a volcano. Imagine a kind old man ringing a bell to warn people about a peacefully erupting volcano, showing his benevolent nature. Acronyms or acrostics. For lists of words, create an acronym, first letter of each word forming a new word, or an acrostic, each letter of a word standing for a new word. While less common for single words, it's great for remembering sets of related terms. Storytelling. Weave several new words into a short, imaginative story. The narrative helps link them together and makes them more memorable. The story doesn't have to make perfect sense, just enough to connect the words. Don't be afraid to be creative and a little silly. The brain remembers novelty. Strategy 4. The ultimate test, active production, use it or lose it. You can look at a dictionary all day, but until you use the words, they won't truly become part of your active vocabulary. This is the output stage, where you move words from passive recognition to active production. Speak it. In conversation, actively try to incorporate 1 to 3 new words into your daily conversations. If you don't have native speakers around, talk to yourself, record voice notes, or find an online language exchange partner. The goal is to activate those neural pathways for speaking. Self-talk or shadowing. Describe your day using new vocabulary, or repeat sentences you hear from native speakers, consciously trying to use the words you're learning. Write it. Vocabulary journal or sentence log. Keep a dedicated notebook or digital document. Every time you learn a new word, write it down, its definition, and at least 3 original sentences using it. Make these sentences personal and relevant. Free writing. Dedicate 5 to 10 minutes each day to writing a short paragraph, a diary entry, or a summary of something you read, focusing on integrating your new vocabulary. Online forums or comments. Participate in English-speaking online communities, leave comments on YouTube videos, like this one, or engage in social media using English. This is low-pressure practice. Read it and listen for it. This is the input that fuels your output. The more you read English books, articles, news, and listen to podcasts, movies, and music, the more you will naturally encounter your learned words in different contexts. Each encounter reinforces the word, showing you how it's used by others, and helping you solidify its meaning and nuances. When you see a word you've been studying, it's like a small victory, and your brain takes notice. Remember, language is a skill, not just knowledge. Skills are acquired through practice and application. Strategy 5. Unlocking deeper understanding, grouping and etymology. For more advanced learners, or anyone looking to truly deepen their understanding, these strategies are incredibly powerful. Grouping and thematic learning. Our brains love organization. Instead of learning words randomly, group them. Thematic grouping. Learn words related to a specific topic together. For example, travel might include itinerary, expedition, commute, destination, sojourn. This creates a semantic network in your brain, making related words easier to access. Word families. Many English words come from the same root but have different forms: nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. Learn them together. Develop, development, developer, developing. This not only expands your vocabulary quickly but also improves your understanding of English morphology. Synonyms and antonyms. Learning words in pairs or groups of similar/opposite meanings, e.g., happy, joyful, elated, ecstatic versus sad, gloomy, melancholy, helps you differentiate nuances and expand your expressive range. Create a spectrum for words, from weak to strong intensity. Etymology, the story behind the word. This is where words come alive. Understanding the etymology, the origin and historical development of a word, can provide incredible insights and make complex words much easier to remember. Many English words have Latin, Greek, or Old English roots. Common roots, prefixes, suffixes. Learn common Latin and Greek roots, prefixes, and suffixes. For example, bio, life biology, biography, amphibious. Port, carry export, import, transport, support. Tele, far telephone, telescope, telepathy. AUD, hear audio, audience, auditory. Prefixes like un dash, not, re dash, again, pre dash, before. Suffixes like tie-in, noun form, able, can be done. History and anecdotes, some words have fascinating backstories. Learning that boycott comes from Captain Charles Boycott, who was ostracized for refusing to lower rents, makes the word immediately memorable. A quick search for etymology of word can yield surprising results. This approach transforms vocabulary learning from rote memorization into a thrilling intellectual puzzle, fostering deeper cognitive engagement. Part 3: Building your personalized forever vocabulary routine. So, you have these powerful tools. How do you integrate them into a sustainable, effective daily routine? Consistency is your superpower here. Even short, focused sessions are more effective than sporadic, long ones. Here's a suggested daily or weekly routine. Daily microlearning, 10 to 15 minutes. New word acquisition, aim for a manageable number of new words each day, perhaps 3 to 5, depending on your level and time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Deep processing, for each new word. Look it up in a good learner's dictionary, for example, Oxford Learner's Dictionaries, Cambridge Dictionary. Pay attention to pronunciation, common collocations, and example sentences. Write it down in your vocabulary journal with its definition. Write at least 2 original sentences using the word, making them personal or relevant. Create a quick mental image or mnemonic if it's a tricky word. Say the word out loud multiple times. Spaced repetition review. Use your SRS app, Anki, Memrise, for 5 to 10 minutes. Let the app guide your review of older words. This is where the magic happens for long-term retention. Daily active usage, integrate throughout your day. Conscious speaking or writing. Identify 1 to 2 new words from your current learning batch and make a conscious effort to use them in any English communication you have, even if it's just narrating your actions to yourself, talking to your pet, or posting a short update in English online. Extensive reading or listening. Immerse yourself in English content you enjoy. Don't stop to look up every single word. The goal is to get natural exposure to language and see your known words in new contexts. This reinforces their meaning without explicit effort. Weekly consolidation, 30 to 60 minutes. Thematic review. Review words you've learned within specific themes or word families. How do they relate? Can you build a short story using them? Deep dive. For a few words you find particularly challenging, spend extra time researching their etymology. Finding more example sentences from authentic sources, news articles, books. Trying to explain them to someone else, or record yourself explaining. Creative production. Write a longer piece, a blog post, a story, an email, or have a longer conversation with a language partner, specifically focusing on integrating a wider range of your learned vocabulary. Host. Remember, consistency beats intensity. Even 5 to 10 minutes of focused, smart learning daily will produce far better results than cramming for hours once a week. Be patient with yourself, celebrate small victories, and trust the process. So, there you have it, your ultimate guide to remembering new English words forever. This isn't about magic, it's about applying proven cognitive strategies that leverage how your brain actually works. By focusing on context, active recall, spaced repetition, mnemonics and imagery, active production, grouping, and etymology, you're building a vocabulary that will serve you for life. Learning a language is a journey, and vocabulary is the fuel that keeps you going. Don't let forgotten words derail your progress. Embrace these techniques, make them a part of your daily learning habit, and watch as your English vocabulary grows richer, stronger, and truly, permanently yours. Which of these strategies are you most excited to implement into your routine? Do you have a personal tip or trick that works wonders for you? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I love hearing from you, and your insights can help other learners too. If this video has been helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with anyone who's struggling with English vocabulary, and, of course, subscribe to our channel for more practical English learning advice. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy vocabulary building!